Before you judge him, hear this: a single dad watched his wife walk back into their home with another man, laughing, holding hands, completely unaware that the house no longer belonged to her. What she didn't know was that the papers were already signed, the deal was done, and the life she abandoned had already moved on. Stay till the end to see the twist no one expected. And hey, before we dive in, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel to support more real, emotional stories. Ethan had always been the quiet type, steady, patient, the kind of man who believed family was something you build with small acts of love stacked day after day. He worked 2 jobs, packed lunch for his 7-year-old daughter Lily every morning, and still found time to bring flowers home for his wife, Clara. He believed love was simple: choose your people, and stay loyal. But Clara had changed over the past year. She'd grown restless, quick to anger, dismissive of Ethan's every effort. When she announced she was taking a girls' vacation, Ethan didn't argue. He only hoped the space would clear her mind. But on the 3rd day, photos started appearing online. Clara wasn't with friends, she was with a man Ethan had never seen before, a man whose arms wrapped around her as if she'd never belonged anywhere else. The comments were cruel, the truth undeniable. Ethan felt his world drop out from under him, but his concern wasn't for himself, it was for Lily. That night, he tucked his daughter into bed, kissed her forehead, and made a decision: he wasn't going to let his child grow up in a house where love was something one-sided, where loyalty was something only one parent offered. Over the next few weeks while Clara was still away, Ethan sold the house, legally, cleanly, with full ownership rights because he'd bought it before their marriage. He packed only what mattered: Lily's drawings, her school awards, and a few photos from happier days. Everything else he left behind like a chapter he was finally willing to close. On the day Clara returned, Ethan stood outside one last time, listening to his daughter laugh in the backseat as he strapped her into the car. He wasn't angry anymore. He was done. What he didn't expect was Clara arriving hours early, with her lover by her side. The two walked up the driveway laughing, hands intertwined, utterly unaware that their grand reunion scene was about to fall apart. Ethan watched quietly until Clara noticed him, her smile dropping as if her jaw had forgotten how to close. "Ethan, why are you here? What's going on?" she asked, but her eyes kept darting nervously to the man standing beside her. It was the look of someone caught, someone guilty, someone who knew her excuses wouldn't survive daylight. Ethan simply handed her a folder. "You might want to read this inside," he said. Clara frowned, opening the envelope: house sale documents, transfer confirmations, signatures complete. You sold the house?" she stammered. Ethan nodded. "Last week. New owners take over tomorrow." The lover's expression twisted into confusion, then irritation. Clara's voice rose, cracking with disbelief. "You can't just do that. This is my home." Ethan met her gaze calmly. "It was our home. Then you chose someone else. Lily and I are moving somewhere safe, somewhere peaceful." Clara opened her mouth, but no words came, only shock. Ethan turned away, lifted Lily into the car, and whispered, "Ready to go, sweetheart?" She nodded, unaware of the storm behind her. And as Ethan drove off, the house shrinking in the rearview mirror, he didn't feel victory, only closure. He had no idea that Clara wouldn't give up easily. The real storm was only beginning. Clara wasn't the type to accept consequences quietly. Within hours of Ethan leaving, she had stormed through the empty rooms, slamming doors, shouting at her confused lover, insisting there had to be a mistake. But deep down, she knew Ethan had every legal right. The next morning, she showed up at Ethan's temporary rental apartment with tears streaked across her carefully tanned face. Ethan opened the door just enough to see her but kept the chain locked. He wasn't ready to let chaos back into his life. Lily was playing on the floor behind him, unaware of the tension. "Ethan, please," Clara whispered, trying to soften her voice the way she used to when she wanted something. "We can talk. We can fix this." Her lover was nowhere in sight, clearly not committed enough to stand beside her when reality hit. Ethan took a breath, steady but tired. "Clara, this isn't about revenge. It's about protecting Lily and myself. You made your choice." She shook her head desperately. "It was just a distraction. I didn't mean for things to go so far. I felt unseen." Ethan felt something twist inside him, not sympathy, but the ache of realizing how differently they viewed love. "Clara," he said quietly, "I saw you every day. I fought for us every day. But love isn't something you chase when it's convenient. It's something you honor. Clara wiped her face, her mascara smudging into dark streaks. Just give me another chance, she begged. But Ethan wasn't moved, not out of bitterness, but out of clarity. He'd spent months trying to save a marriage alone, he wasn't going to spend years repairing something broken by choice. Still, for Lily's sake, he agreed to meet Clara in a neutral place to discuss custody arrangements. They met at a cafe 2 days later. Clara arrived early, dressed carefully, as if looking perfect would erase the past weeks. Ethan brought Lily, who ran to hug her mother happily, unaware of adult mistakes. That innocence softened Ethan, but only slightly. As they talked, Clara tried several angles: blame, guilt, nostalgia. She even tried accusing Ethan of overreacting. But nothing stuck. Ethan remained calm, focused on what mattered: stability for Lily. When Clara realized manipulation wouldn't work, her tone shifted. She began speaking honestly, something she hadn't done in months. She admitted she'd felt like she was disappearing into the daily grind, that she'd gone seeking excitement and validation, not realizing she was tearing apart the one person who never stopped choosing her. Ethan listened, not because he hoped to reconcile, but because closure required truth. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I know it's too late to fix us, but please don't shut me out of Lily's life." Ethan nodded. "You're her mother. She needs you. But she also needs stability. I'll never keep her from you, but our lives won't return to how they were." Clara cried quietly, but this time without theatrics. And for the first time in a long time, Ethan felt a different kind of relief, not from winning, but from finally releasing the weight he'd carried alone. As they left the cafe, Clara reached for Ethan's arm. "If I had come home sooner," she said, "if I hadn't, if things had been different, do you think we'd still?" Ethan cut her off gently. "Clara, the moment you walked in with him, you answered your own question." She looked down, nodding slowly. Ethan thought things would calm down after that talk. But he was wrong. Clara's lover had not taken kindly to being cut out. And he was about to cause chaos Ethan never saw coming. The next week unfolded like a storm Ethan didn't know he was standing in the center of. Clara's lover, enraged that she wanted nothing more to do with him, began harassing both Clara and Ethan. At first, it was messages, angry, desperate, threatening. Clara, overwhelmed and frightened, told Ethan everything. Ethan knew he had to step in, not for Clara, but for Lily's safety. He advised her to block the man, involve the police, and document everything. Clara hesitated, ashamed of the mess she'd brought into all their lives, but Ethan's calm strength pushed her forward. The police took the report seriously, warning the man to stay away. But 2 nights later, Ethan woke to loud banging on his apartment door. His heart froze. Lily was asleep in the next room. He grabbed his phone, ready to call for help, but when he looked through the peephole, it wasn't the lover. It was Clara, shaking, crying, panicked. "He followed me," she whispered when Ethan opened the door. "He's outside somewhere. I don't know what to do." Ethan didn't hesitate. He pulled her inside, locked the door, checked the windows, then called the police immediately. Clara collapsed onto the couch, trembling. For a moment, the years of resentment and betrayal fell away, replaced by a basic truth: she was Lily's mother, and she was afraid. Ethan sat beside her, speaking calmly until the police arrived, searched the area, and escorted Clara to a safer temporary location. The next morning brought unexpected peace. Clara called Ethan, her voice soft and steady. "Thank you," she said. "Not for saving me, but for protecting Lily. I see now what kind of father you are." Ethan didn't respond with comforting words. He didn't need to. He simply said, "Lily comes first." Over the next month, Clara began rebuilding her life slowly, without the reckless choices that had shattered everything. She attended therapy, apologized to friends she'd hurt, and made consistent effort to show up for her daughter. Ethan, meanwhile, focused on creating a warm, simple home for Lily in a new townhouse filled with light, books, and peace. One day, as he and Lily unpacked boxes together, Clara arrived with a gift: a framed picture of Lily's handprint, painted in bright colors. "For your new home," she said. There was no bitterness in her voice, only acceptance. Ethan thanked her, and for the first time, they stood as two people who knew their story had ended but their roles as parents would always connect them. Months later, when Lily performed in her school play, Ethan and Clara sat side by side, not as a couple, not as enemies, but as partners in the one thing they still shared: love for their daughter. And as the lights dimmed and Lily bowed on stage, Ethan realized something: sometimes losing a marriage means gaining peace. Sometimes letting go isn't the end, but the beginning of a gentler life. And sometimes the hardest heartbreak leads you exactly where you were meant to be.